She leaves just when you offer her the world. She distances herself when you decide to give yourself completely. And the craziest thing, she desires with all her might that man who doesn't even seem to try to please her. Female desire has never been a reflection of male logic. While you try to build bridges with flowers, constant presence, and exaggerated attention, she feels a distance that she can't explain. It's not that she's being cruel. It's that you're playing a game whose rules she's never respected. A woman's desire is not ignited by obvious acts, visible efforts, or intense declarations. It grows where there's mystery, where there's tension, where there's contrast. A woman doesn't give in to the predictable. She gives in to what provokes her to imagine. What makes her question herself. What makes her skin crawl before reason can even react. That's what we're going to talk about. About the type of man she desires without understanding why. Who she misses even when he's with others. That she keeps in her memory, even though she has never touched it. This man is not the most handsome, nor the strongest. He is the most enigmatic, and that is her turning point. From here on, each word will bring you closer to that which few dare to discover. The exact point where desire is born, grows, and transforms into surrender. Take a deep breath. The game is about to begin. You grew up believing that she would fall in love with your looks, with the right car, with a defined body, with a bank account with inflated numbers. But then you discovered, in the most brutal way possible, that all of these things can be present, and yet she feels nothing. Zero. As if you were invisible. And the reason is simple, but no one had the courage to tell you. Women do not desire with their eyes. They desire with their skin. With the environment. With the emotional tension that you provoke when you enter a room and the air changes. That is why she can feel attracted to an ordinary man who exudes presence while rejecting a perfect man who exudes need. Her desire is chemical, atmospheric, instinctive. Visuals are just a detail, and an almost always irrelevant detail. What really matters is what she feels by your side, even if you don't say a word. And this brings us to one of the most neglected truths of female psychology. Desire is activated by context, not by appearance. You can be handsome, smell good, and financially stable. But if your energy is insecure, anxious, fragile, you won't be desired. You'll just be noticed and discarded. Robert Greene describes this perfectly in The Art of Seduction. He shows that seduction is not an aesthetic, it's an atmosphere. It's what you provoke around you, not what you show in the mirror. A woman is an emotional radar. She picks up on what you don't even realize you're transmitting. That's why she moves away when you try to prove your worth and approaches when you simply are. She wants what's stable, but also mysterious. Strong, but not forced. Present, but not dependent. She wants what makes her feel. And feeling has no logic, it has instinct. This brutal difference between men and women transforms the way desire behaves. Men are switches. They see it, they like it, they want it. Women are volume. They need to feel it rise. Slowly, gradually, progressively. And if you don't know how to manage this increase in tension, she'll switch off before you even realize it. Her desire grows in doubt, in controlled absence, in well-placed silence, in the firmness of her gestures and the lack of haste. She doesn't want to know if you love her. She wants to wonder if you see her. And that makes all the difference. Cleopatra wasn't the most beautiful, but she was the most magnetic. Julius Caesar, Mark Antony, powerful men bowed not to her appearance, but to her presence. She carried atmosphere. She was an event, an enigma. Desire feeds on this, on what you can't decipher but feel you need to explore. And every man who understands this gains an absurd advantage. He stops trying to impress and starts to emanate. He stops chasing and starts to be chased. And not through manipulation, but through understanding. You don't need to change your appearance. You need to change your presence. The way you enter, the way you look, the firmness of your touch, the slowness of your speech, your emotional control in the chaos. She wants this. Because when she feels this, her body responds before she even has time to think. And in that instant, you stop being just another one, and he becomes the one she never forgets, no matter where he is. And that is just the beginning. Let's now explore what destroys all of this. The fatal mistake that most people make that turns men into invisible figures. The mistake is not in what you feel. It is in the moment you reveal it. Female desire cannot be rushed. It is a flame that slowly lights up in the darkness when everything still seems uncertain. But you, in your eagerness to conquer, turn on all the lights. Say everything, give everything, do everything, and she turns it off. It is cruel, it seems unfair, but it is biological. When you give before you charm, you kill the tension. When you offer without her asking, you nullify the mystery. When you declare yourself completely before she feels half, you become predictable. And predictability is the poison of attraction. What many do not realize is that at first, a woman does not want to know that you are in love. She wants to wonder if you are. She wants doubt, tension, insinuation. And when you rush, whether with words, gestures, or messages, you do not transmit love, you transmit anxiety. And anxiety smells like desperation. A smell that a woman can smell from afar, even if you are smiling. The man who needs to constantly prove that he is valuable is not at peace with his own value. And that screams. A woman desires someone who is not trying to be desired, because this man has already validated himself. He does not need to convince, he simply exists. And that is exactly what attracts her. The lack of effort, the naturalness, the posture of someone who does not bow down, nor rush, nor justify himself. The problem is that most men have been taught to be nice, always available, always kind, always saying yes. And this, in the eyes of a woman, does not sound like romanticism. It sounds like weakness, like a lack of criteria, like a lack of backbone. It is as if she were silently asking, if you give yourself up so easily, haven't you done this with everyone? What should be a gesture of affection turns into suspicion, and desire disappears. Robert Greene explains this in The Archetype of the Ideal Lover and the Libertine. Figures who do not give themselves up quickly, who envelop the woman in an atmosphere of imagination, contrast, and challenge. They do not win her over through logic. They enchant through mystery, and that's the point. Female desire is not a contract, it's a story, and every good story needs tension. That's why the man who enchants is the one who knows how to balance presence and absence, who appears with intention and disappears with purpose, who creates silences for her to fill with fantasy, who disappears at the right moment, not to manipulate, but to preserve himself. Because he has a life, he has direction, he has purpose. And a woman is not the center of his existence, she is a bonus. That, paradoxically, is what attracts him the most. The man who doesn't revolve around a woman is precisely the man around whom women revolve. And here comes the cruelest contrast of all. The more you show that you need her, the less she desires you. But the more you show yourself to be whole without her, the more she wants to be part of your world. Not because you ignore her, but because you don't idolize her. And that creates respect, admiration, magnetism. A woman surrenders herself when she feels she is in front of a man with a life of his own. A man who can love, but can also leave. Who can care, but also set limits. Who can be sweet, but will never be submissive. It is this contrast that seduces, this ambiguity that provokes, this silent firmness that disarms. And no matter how many gifts you offer, how many messages you send, or how much affection you show, if this is missing, it will all be in vain. She wants the man who makes her feel like she is dancing on an emotional tightrope. Not too far, not too close, just at the exact point where the butterflies in her stomach turn into desire. And that is where we enter the climax of all this. Presence. The state of being that transforms an ordinary man into an emotional event. She notices you before she even looks at you. She feels your value in the silence between words. And if you think this is mystical, abstract, or exaggerated, it's because you still don't understand the real power of presence. A man can have it all: looks, status, intelligence. But if he doesn't know how to inhabit the moment with emotional strength, he will be forgotten. Because a woman doesn't want what impresses, she wants what vibrates. And true presence vibrates in the air, invades the environment, changes the chemistry. It doesn't come from effort, it comes from the internal state. When you see yourself as small, anxious, dependent, she feels it. Even if you smile, even if you say everything right, even if you bring flowers, your energy betrays your scarcity. And a woman is programmed to smell scarcity like a predator smells fear. Friedrich Nietzsche once said, "What is good? Everything that increases the feeling of power. What is bad? Everything that originates from weakness." A woman wants what makes her feel powerful, not what begs for attention. And that is why a man who carries a rich inner world, with purpose, with direction, with clarity, automatically becomes magnetic. He may not open his mouth. He may be wearing a plain t-shirt, but he has posture, he has timing. He has something that cannot be bought, congruence. What he thinks, feels, and transmits are aligned. He does not need technique. He is the technique, and that is disarming. She does not want an actor. She wants a pillar, someone who is so centered in himself that he does not need to perform, who does not change the tone of his voice to please, who does not adapt his opinion to avoid conflict, who does not force a smile when he feels angry, who does not rush to respond but also does not hold back. A man who is whole, who is grounded, who is an emotional base, and when she feels this, her body relaxes, her mind surrenders, desire blossoms, because true male magnetism lies in the ability to remain calm in the midst of chaos. While the world screams, he observes. While the woman tests, he understands. While emotion explodes, he anchors. This is not coldness, it is dominance. It is presence. It is the purest expression of masculine energy. A woman is flow. She is chaos. She is emotion. She does not want to be controlled. She wants to be contained. And only a man with center can do that. When you are this man, the game changes. You do not chase. You walk firmly. You do not beg for attention. You attract naturally. You do not need to prove anything. Your calmness speaks louder than any argument. She looks at you and feels, he is different. He is not trying to have me. He already has himself. And that is why I want to be a part of this. That is the secret. You do not need to show yourself completely all at once. True value is revealed in layers, little by little, with intention, with control, with timing. And the most beautiful thing about this, you do not need to pretend. You just need to return to your center. Stop performing. Stop pleasing. Stop competing with other men for attention. You are no longer one. You are unique, but only when you see yourself as such. A woman does not desire you because of what you say. She desires you because of the way you stand, the way you breathe, the way you walk, the way you keep quiet. And when that happens, she doesn't desire you out of need. She desires you out of connection. It's not about enchantment, it's about energy. It's about the feeling of being in front of something rare, unshakable, present, and irresistible. And that is the new you.